guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today what I'm going to be doing is my first half of the month wrap up for March. Oh, I've read 5. I have an ebook. What ebook did I read? I'm splitting up my month into 2 parts because the first half of the month I read 5 books and I thought that was probably enough. So the first book that I read this month was Kazuo Ishiguro's Never Let Me Go. I have not read anything else by Kazuo Ishiguro. I heard from Jen over at Jen Campbell that this was a book, probably one of her favorite books that she's ever read, and I went, ooh, yes, that sounds interesting. Let's read it. She doesn't give anything away about the plot, by the way. She just says that this is like one of her favorite books that she's ever read, and I read it, and I really liked it. It totally sucked me in. I was not expecting that book to be the way it was, and I don't want to say anything else about it really. It was surprising and I was hooked. I flew through it. Next up is a book that I recently hauled in my library book haul, and that is Packing for Mars by Mary Roach. This is the first of the few space books that I picked up that I read. I enjoy Mary Roach's writing quite a bit. She is very funny, she's very personable. She is able to explain very complex things very easily. She's a journalist, and most of the time I prefer reading nonfiction books by experts in that field. Mary Roach is a journalist, and it helped in this case. I think this was very, very well done. So what this book is really about is the human experience in space. This is not about space necessarily. This is about humans in space and the different kind of obstacles that we have to overcome and have overcome with the idea of being in space and living in space and surviving. That I found really, really fascinating, but it was not 100% what I was looking for. What I was looking for was more information about maybe the technology or actually space itself. This is very much humans in space. Literally every other page I was making my boyfriend pause what he was doing so I could read him something out of this book because it was either hysterical or really important. After reading a section of this book, he and I actually got really sucked down the hole of watching Chris Hadfield's YouTube videos, which I would recommend if you haven't watched them. They're very funny. Chris Hadfield is a gift. If you enjoy Chris's kind of goofiness, you will like this book. The next book that I managed to finish is Hagseed by Margaret Atwood. Now, I'm not going to say very much about this. This is a retelling of The Tempest, which is part of the Hogarth Shakespeare collection. I don't want to say too much about this because I'm actually going to be doing a whole series of videos where I review the Bailey's books that I do manage to read, so that will be coming up very shortly. I did really like this. I really appreciated the path that she took with The Tempest. I haven't read any of the other Hogarth Shakespeares, so I don't know how the other ones deal with them, but I've heard that she has dealt with it differently than a lot of people. This follows Felix, who is a theater director, an artistic director for this theater company. He basically gets usurped by his right-hand man, kind of goes and exiles himself. So it's mirroring what happens in The Tempest. It was very good. Expect a review of this one coming very soon. Next up, I read The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. This book was heartbreaking and incredibly important. So this book follows Star and her good friend Khalil. It's like her best friend from when she was a kid. They go to a party, and on their way back from the party, Khalil is pulled over and is shot by a cop. Now, that basically happens within the first couple chapters, so I'm not really giving too much away. This book was really, really hard for me to read, but I understand that it is important for us to read things like this. One thing that I think this book did so well is, well, there are many things that I think that this book did really, really well. One thing that I think stuck out to me the most was that it is very grounded in today. The slang that is used is very much today's slang. The social media, the talking, just everything screamed 2016. This is happening right now. It is grounded in reality. And I know a lot of authors tend to kind of shy away from uses of technology and slang that can date their book very quickly. This will date this book very quickly, and I think that is purposeful, and I think it is well done, because this should be a snapshot of what is happening now. And I think that is why that was so successful in this book, because it needs to be grounded in now. Like I said, this is heartbreaking. It's very important, but it's very, very sad. And the ending is both perfect and disturbing. It just follows this girl and her trying to come to terms with why this happened, what happens to her and her community and her friendships because of this, and it really shows how she has to deal with it. It's very sad and very, very true to what is happening now, and I think it's incredibly important, and I hope lots and lots and lots of people read this and try and understand. The last book that I read is In Cold Blood by Truman Capote. Now this is kind of the genre-defying book of true crime. I really, really enjoyed it. It is written very much like a novel. This follows a family who has been killed in their home in cold blood by these two people, and it follows how they're caught, what is used to catch them. One thing that I did notice that was really interesting is at the end, when they start talking about the trial, he starts quoting and referencing like articles, like scholarly articles, and kind of the thinking of the time of psychology. I forgot that this was a nonfiction book until he started doing that and started going into all of these other cases that had happened, and I really, really enjoyed that. I kind of got to the end of the book, forgot that this was a nonfiction book. He then started talking about all this other stuff, this other articles and these other cases, and it kind of sucks you back in that, oh yeah, this was a real thing. And I think that was really, really well done. I really enjoyed the little bit at the end where he talks about some other cases. Have you guys read any Capote? Like, where would be another good place for me to go after this one? So those are all of the books that I have read in the first half of the month. Please let me know down below if you guys have been having a good reading month. So far, mine's good. Fingers crossed, we're gonna finish out the month strong. And I will talk to you all very soon with another video. Bye.